Hello and welcome. So, what are you comfortable spending your money on? What do you deem as valuable and worth it versus not? Last year, I realized for myself that I don't hesitate to spend on experiences. How do I know? I went to see Beyonce in London for a weekend. It was my first time in Europe, first time flying for that long. And I know what you're thinking. Why? Why would you go when the travel time is the same as the time that you'd be there if it's just for the weekend? Well, part of the narrative was that I was also visiting my cousin who moved to London, but it also just told me what I found as something that I see as a worthwhile experience, of course, that I had the funds for, not kind of going in debt to do that, that it also feels good to spend on. This is Spilling the Jasmine Tea, where we, Vian and Amanda, spill the tea on taboo topics we only grew up whispering about, and today we're talking about cash money. Money itself can be a topic that is really sensitive. Maybe it's something about growing up in an immigrant family, but certain things are off-putting. Like when you hear those aunties call your mom and it's like, so how much do your kids make? There's just something about that that doesn't feel great. So we're super excited to share with you our discussions on money mindset, scarcity versus abundance, the influence of growing up with refugee parents, and trying to figure out how to look after yourself, roof over your head, pay for the things that are necessary and that you enjoy. So get comfortable, perhaps join us with your own cup of jasmine tea and sip along as we spill the tea on our journeys with money. I have a little story for you.
Tell me.
I ordered a chai latte at a cafe a few weeks back and I just completely forgot to get soy. And it happened to be just like the largest mug I've ever seen. And I was like, oh my God, $6. Do I just go with it? Do I just drink this milk and deal with the consequences? Or do I get another chai latte and becomes a $12, $13 drink? And I was just like trying to do all these calculations and trying to weigh up the options. In theory, it should have been simple. It's like, you made a mistake, just get another latte. But I had all of these feelings that remind me of what I used to see my mum go through when it came to making these types of money decisions. I'm like, why did you do that? And what a waste of $6. And of course, in the grand scheme of things, like if I pay for parking in the city, that's like $15.
Yeah.
And I don't think about it that much. But this felt so heavy. And it took me like 15 minutes to decide I'm just going to get another drink. And it was after the waitresses were just like, they're like looking and they're like, is she okay? She's just like not drinking. And I was just like sitting like this.
Having this existential crisis.
Yeah, just staring at this giant mug, not looking okay. So I realized, wow, I've done a lot of work to date on my money mindset, but something like that really showed I still embody a lot of these things I saw growing up, and there's a long way to go. Do you have experiences like that?
Oh, yeah. You're speaking to the queen of money things that feel so big, but it's actually so small. And like in the context, when you compare it to like paying for parking or shouting at a friend or, you know, whatever, same. I've done a lot of money mindset and I like to tip. I like to shout friends. I like to buy gifts to practice being in an abundance mindset. But then when it comes to things for me, it's like, I would have drank that $6, but I don't have the lactose intolerance issues. So that's probably where the great area of.
That's fair. I mean, I was so close to just doing it, but then I thought about the last time I had a milk drink.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
I mean, like in my context, yeah, I don't have lactose issues. I usually order soy milk as well because I just prefer the taste. Yeah, when I've ordered cow's milk before, well, it's not my favorite. And every sip I'm like,
No.
But yeah, I'll drink it. But I don't have as intense side effects.
Sure. But it's interesting, like you said, the just like paying for yourself or putting that money into yourself is the harder decision.
Which is very interesting. And I liked what you said about like, you notice the patterns in yourself that you notice in your mom, because this is a pattern that I have observed in my mom as well. She is very generous with other people, will buy gifts, will shout dinners, things like that. But then when it comes to herself, often she's very frugal. And it makes sense, right? Like being an immigrant, like literally having nothing when she came to Australia, and now being financially stable. But for all of her life, she was in survival mode, survival mindset. So with her money mindset, it was like, be as frugal as you can, save as much as you can, don't throw anything out. Like, and that still sticks with her today. And I have to like, you know, fight her on some things with that, because it's just like, just let it go.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's so easier to say that, but like, she's had decades and decades of being in this trauma pattern. And I've grown up with such a privileged life that her frugalness has provided me. But yeah, it's so challenging to see her in that. I want her to realize that she's safe and she's okay. She's like financially stable now, so she can relax and not be in survival mode anymore. But obviously that's easier said than done.
Definitely. And there is so much to say about the intergenerational impacts of trauma, survival mindset, how it impacts money. So I'm very excited to just get very deep into that topic today.
Yeah, because I feel like money is such a taboo topic in society for very clear colonial reasons. And especially migrants or second-gen people, we need to be talking about it because it is a generational thing. A lot of Asian people in my high school being a select entry, and I noticed that a lot of them had this kind of scarcity mindset around money as well.
How did you see it in school? How did it show up?
It was things like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive, or like, you know, a $4 thing.
It's not like a canteen.
Yeah, or just like constant talking about things that are expensive or like too much, or, you know, that kind of vibe.
So I'm very curious. You described a bit of what you saw in your mum. Like, what is your journey and experience with money?
How long do we have?
Let's get into it.
Growing up, I wasn't really taught anything about money or finances or managing money. I remember actually my mum did take me to open up my CommBank savings account. I forgot what they were called.
Was it the Dolomites thing?
Yes, it was that. And you had like the yellow, it was like a yellow, like,
So you would have been in primary school or something.
Something like that. Yeah, very young. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I have no idea what this is about, but sure. It's like a fun little thing. But that's basically it. So I knew that there was a savings account and then you spend money. And so basically up until 26, until I started my business, I had a savings account and a spending account. And money just flowed between those accounts without any like structure, budget or anything. It was only when I started my business, I was like, I should probably learn something about managing finances. And that's when I learned about budgeting and things like that from 26. Yeah. That's wild to me. I think I was 26. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, well, before me, I'm still curious, you know, that age, after high school, before your business, you're, you know, studying, working, doing stuff. Were you carefree with money or frugal or?
I was pretty carefree, I think. I was working from 15. I was pretty liberal with my money. I moved out when I was 18. I lived on college. And so at first my parents were helping me pay rent, but then when Centrelink came in, I started paying that myself, but I was also working a job. Yeah, you know, money was fine.
So money stress wasn't super duper high.
Yeah. I remember being in college, people like to drink a lot. People drank Goon. I never drank Goon. I was above that. I'm kidding. But I don't know, I just never got into it. But people drank Goon, and I remember it went up from $10 to $11 one time. And there was an outrage across the colleges. It was like, it's gone up $1. How dare they? I was like, guys, it's $1. What?
That's so funny.
Yeah. I remember in college, my friends and I would go to brunch like every weekend. We're just out of school. We want to experience life. We want to eat good food. And we have some money now, so we can pay for good food. And so, yeah, we were very liberal with our money. I loved to party as well. I also drank a lot, trying to escape the world with my neurodivergence, numb the world because it was too much because I didn't know what was going on. And then I decided to go on my big traveling trip, and so all of my money was going towards that. After that, when I came back, all the money that I earned was like going towards travel, basically, and partying.
Okay, and that was up until your business, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to learn about you now.
For me, I think it was pretty carefree as well. Like, lucky that my parents were able to provide and things like that. But I grew up seeing more frugality at home, like trying to save up. It was like, oh, we have to pay the mortgage and that kind of mindset. And so we didn't go out to eat and that kind of thing. It was like with family, with like my cousins and stuff, we can go out to eat. But as the four of us, it wasn't really a thing.
I actually remember when I was like going out with friends a lot to eat, my parents would always be like, oh, sangwa. Oh, so fancy. Like going out to eat is fancy for them because like similarly back then we didn't go out a lot. It was like eat at home or if it's with the rest of the family then we'd go out.
When I was in primary school, the treat was McDonald's. That is like, yay.
Yeah.
Not something like brunch, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
And I actually remember it was when I was in high school and uni that I pushed really hard to convince my parents to go out for coffee because it was just not a thing. If going out for coffee was like going to the Nespresso shop to get a free shot, you know. And I joined, but I was like, I feel like there are other ways to enjoy coffee. I've seen people, they sit down, they order a latte. And maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I feel like I pushed a lot and then we started to go out for coffee. But it wasn't something I remembered seeing my parents do or doing, like going out for coffee as a family before that. And then as an adult, I think it was a lot of avoidance for a really long time. And you said it was when you started your business that you started learning about budgeting and finance. I actually think I continued to avoid even after starting my business. I avoided for as long as possible until it was like, you have to look at the numbers now. You cannot run a business without knowing these things. Yeah. So my avoidance lasted an extra long time. And now I'm on the journey of not being scared anymore. More hopeful, less fearful.
And we were talking about that avoidance before, which is so common, especially when you know nothing about it.
As perfectionists.
Yeah. Overachievers, yeah. When you know that you know nothing about a topic and that it's probably not going well, having to face it means that you have to admit that you're not good at it.
Yes.
And you have a long way to learn about it. And there's a big learning gap. Avoidance is a very, very common response. I think I had a lot of avoidance of it as well. I think it was more ignorance actually for me. It was just like, oh, I didn't know that finances is something that you could manage and like budgeting. I had no idea. So we were very late bloomers with learning about money and finances. Where are you now with that? And what's a win that you've recently had with money and what's a challenge that you're currently working on?
I still think a win is stepping out of that avoidance. I wouldn't even want to look at anything financial related, which is kind of embarrassing to admit. And it's like, how do you do business like that without knowing how much you earn or how much you're spending?
I feel you.
Yeah. I am able to embrace looking at the numbers, looking at the inflow, outflow, probably. Inflow and outflow.
Cash flow.
That's right. Terminology.
Yeah, finance.
That's so funny. Yes, without feeling that tight fear and not letting the avoidance win. The small win for me is being able to engage without feeling that crippling fear. And something I'm still working on is 100% stepping out of the scarcity mindset. I've been pretty hooked on this podcast called Money for Couples.
Okay.
And I think even if you're not in a couple, the theories or lessons about money mindset are super interesting. And there's this one line that the host Ramit always says that people get stuck on the $3 decisions when you could be thinking about the $30,000 decisions and questions. And yeah, so what I'm still working with is thinking about those bigger ticket, really meaningful goals and decisions. How do I work towards that rather than, just being stuck on, I have to spend another $6 on a drink.
Yeah. So what is an example of like a $30,000
decision
Yeah.
or question?
Yeah.
If I come back to business and practice, a little dream that I didn't even want to grow was, imagine if I had my own space for my practice, you know, a clinic where it could be multidisciplinary. There's a bunch of rooms for different types of allied health services, but I would have to have more ownership and be able to, you know, cater and pay for this space. But I almost didn't even want to dream it because I was like, well, I don't know if I can do that. So that's an example of a bigger decision where I'm like, actually, I want to start dreaming about it. I can only work towards it if I've set it as a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a tangible goal as well. Like, not just like a pipe dream of like, oh, one day, but like, okay, well, how much do I need to put away and how long will it take? And it's okay if it takes longer, but this is what we're starting with. Yeah. And I say that now because it's like, I totally get that. That's something that is challenging for me as well, or something that I'm working on. Actually looking at my finances consistently and planning for the bigger $30,000 goals, questions. Yeah, very relatable.
Is that similar to your journey in terms of like wins or things you're working on?
Yeah, wins. I would say I'm noticing that I have more of an abundance mindset with money. Like I said before, I like to tip a lot, particularly like service people, because we know they work their asses off and they don't get paid enough. I just went on holiday in Indonesia and like I was very grateful that my friend, we're on the same wavelength with this stuff. So we were like tipping very generously. Obviously like the disparities between coming from like a Western country versus Indonesia, and buying gifts and like shouting friends for things. I feel like I don't have that tightness of, oh my gosh, I'm spending money anymore, which is really nice. I think in my business, in terms of the challenge, recently I said that I burnt out my first business. And so I'm just restarting my business now, and it's taking a little bit longer to get up and running, which is fine because I'm doing it in a more sustainable way. But because I'm not having as much cash flow, I'm like, oh, well, all my dreams are put on pause until I get it to a certain state, which I haven't even defined that yet. So I think that avoidance of looking at the finances and looking at money, even though I've worked on it a lot and I have overcome a lot, there's still like little ways that it seeps in. Working on things is like a spiral, right? You think you worked on something and then it comes back in it. In another way.
You're like, oh my gosh, there's more to learn.
Yeah, I thought I got over it. But that is the fun of healing. This conversation even has helped me realize that, yeah, I do need to put more concrete plans in place, even though the finances aren't flowing in as liberally as I would like it to be right now. But I can still make that plan. And when I have more tangible goals, then it makes it easier to stay motivated and push in a manageable capacity. Like reminding myself because I'm still like traumatized and burnt out. Yeah, I'll probably like go home and like look at my finances.
It's fun. Can I just say, when I feel like when we hang out, I really do feel your generous mindset, and I do want to show and tell your gift. All the ankles. Isn't this so cute? After you were diving with...
No, before I was diving with turtles.
Oh, before you were diving with... You brought me a turtle.
Yeah.
Someone who's scared of snorkeling. So.
The closest you'll get to it.
Exactly, and I am such a tote person.
I know. I saw this and I was like, immediately VM.
Oh, I'm so touched. Thank you. So I feel it. I feel like the intention comes through. And it sounds like maybe we're fighting similar things when it comes to avoidance and experiences related to burnout with money, whether it's hustling or doing something not aligned with your values or philosophy. Yeah. And I still feel like there's a big element of being second generation immigrant and how we grew up. Do you want to talk a bit about what were you exposed to with your parents and their money mindset?
It's really interesting that we do have very similar experiences, given that both our parents are migrants. And so I wonder how many other people, other migrants have this mindset. I noticed it in a few of my Asian friends as well. It is a really interesting pattern. With my parents, yeah, they were super frugal with money. Me, as the smaller child, would always get my sister secondhand things. My sister would get anything that she wanted. Well, it felt like anything that she wanted. And then I would just get her like leftovers.
What was the age gap?
2 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like as soon as she's grown out of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit big for me, but it probably fits just enough. And then I'll grow into it. So it's fine. That becomes a bit of a mindset pattern as well. Oh, I'll just get the leftovers. Whatever's left over is for me. I'm not deserving of new things. I'm not deserving of things that I want.
Wow.
So I remember working on that a lot when I was starting on my money mindset. And then Dad likes nice things and he'll buy them for himself. He's like okay with that. But he gets very angry when the things are damaged, for example. Whenever there's like a scratch on the car, he's like, why is there a scratch on the car? Why didn't you drive more carefully? Blah, 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 or whatever. Automatically, it's like fear, anger. I think it's that scarcity mindset that comes up. There's the compassion there with migrant and money mindset. But then at the same time, I'm like a kid or a child, not knowing any better. So there was a lot of fear instilled of like, what if you waste money? Yeah. As well.
Every cent counts, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And basically don't do anything so that you preserve the things.
Yes. Oh, yes. Prolong the life of all of your items.
Yeah. By like not using it.
Yeah. Yes.
So those are like the most major things that come to me when I think about childhood, money mindset in my family growing up.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've done a lot of thinking about this and I observed things growing up as well. But I realized that my parents, while they're literally both born in the same city, Saigon, their families are from different places and that has shaped them culturally. Like they're very different culturally and that really showed in terms of money. My dad's family is from Saigon, so very much like the south, and then my mum's family is from Hue, so the middle region. The geographical landscape impacts people's behaviour. So in the south, that's where it's easier to grow rice and there's the river, and so food is kind of abundant and it's in the mentality of the people. I think there's a saying that's like, if you give $10 to someone in the south, they'll spend all $10 in one day and worry about tomorrow the next day. So it's a very like open, like let's do it, party, enjoy ourselves. And that was my dad as well. And my mum's family is from the middle, which again geographically often has a lot more natural disasters, flooding, heavy rain, and so the land as well, it's harder to grow rice and there's not as much of an abundance of food. So then the saying is like, if you give $10 to someone from like Hue or the middle of Vietnam, they'll save $9 and spend $1.
Whoa.
And that was my mum as well.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And so it showed up in all the things. Like she was the one that would buy like 20 bottles of fish sauce and it would go bad by the time you get through it all. But she would rather stock up. It's that mentality of like, I need to prepare in case things go wrong. I need to have something saved in case things go wrong.
Right.
Whereas my dad didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so that led to a lot of clashes. And then I think I just like swung between both mindsets because I was exposed to it as well.
Wow.
So I do think it's very relevant culturally what they were exposed to and then down to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like so interesting. I write a thesis about that. It actually reminded me, my dad was telling me about after the Vietnam War when the North took over, they were communists and so the state owned everything and his parents owned kind of like a grocery store kind of vibe. The communists came in and just like took everything or trashed everything. And he was like teary when he told that story and he does not show emotions.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, like this is like wild. I just saw the link between his things that he's paid a lot of money for getting damaged and him like associating that with like state violence. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Like the trauma, it's not just my thing got damaged. It's the feelings of everything I own is
yeah. My family's lifeline, like my whole way of living.
So how would you say your parents, are they still in that kind of survival mindset now or stepping into abundance?
I think habits are hard to break, especially when they're in survival mode or like started in survival mode and you don't actively work on it. When you're in survival mode, you often don't think that you have time to work on it. So even though I think that they've been in a space of financial safety for a while, they still have a scarcity mindset. So I notice it now. My parents have officially retired finally a week ago.
Wow.
Yeah. My mum's brought a few things home from the bakery, of course, and you know, our kitchen's a bit like chaotic right now. She was complaining that there was not enough space in the pantry. There's all kinds of things that we have not touched for years. We could throw out a lot of things. And she was like, you have a lot of teas. They've been sitting here for a while. Aren't they bad now? I'm like, I actively drink my teas. There's stuff in the back of that pantry that's not been touched, like, you know, random glasses and mugs, and we have like, our mugs are overflowing. Like the mugs that we actually use are overflowing. I was like, we could give those away, throw this out. She's like, but they're pretty.
Yes, there is something with that like survival mindset sticking around, and then there's something related to hoarding.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not being able to let go of things.
Yeah, my mom's such a hoarder. I was a big hoarder. I'm like improving now, but yeah, there is that mindset of like, oh, what if we could use that later? And what if we need it later and we don't have it then because we filled it out?
Yes.
Or like sold it or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe if I suggest selling it, my mom would be like more like, oh, at least we get money for it.
Yeah.
So they still have a bit of scarcity mindset, and now that they're retired and they don't have that like regular income, because I think they've got a few years until pension comes in. I wonder how that will go.
I think what happens a lot with immigrant families as well, when situations and circumstances change but the mindset is the same. Vietnamese Australian stories, that's just what I have exposure to. But I've seen lots of families who come over, you know, with nothing. Basically all refugees. They don't have a lot. They're all starting from zero. That survival mindset of like, I'll shop around to find the cheapest tomato.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'll go visit 6 places to get the cheapest petrol, even if it's by like 2 cents. When you don't have lots of money, and that makes sense, like that is how they were able to save up. But then, when there is financial stability, like maybe they have paid off the mortgage, or there's a good pathway to pay off the mortgage. But they just can't let go of these habits. I've heard stories of parents retire, but they can't enjoy things. They were saying all these things of like, oh, I'm saving up to relax later on, but then you get there and you can't relax.
100%. Is that where your parents are, or your mom's at?
I think she's made lots of progress on that. She has gone through this philosophy that I heard about in a book called Die with Zero. So she didn't read the book, but what she's done in the book is like matching. And basically that theory is kind of rethinking this idea of leaving an inheritance. You know, it's quite a common belief that people want to leave as much money as they can when they pass away for their family or philanthropy or something like that. But the book is arguing that you could make more meaningful impact if you spend all of that wealth in your lifetime. And of course this relates to that group of SES or higher socioeconomic status people that will have money left over. But yeah, they're saying if you have kids, imagine if you gave a large chunk of money when they were maybe trying to buy a house or something like that, or you spend it on your health when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, rather than saving everything so then you have worse health in your later years just for the sake of leaving as much money. And so at first, this is not even that long ago, but my mum was sharing with me that she wanted to work as much as she could to leave as much money behind. And I had that conversation with her of like, where did this expectation come from? Like, Mum, do you expect an inheritance from your parents? And she's one of 10, so it didn't really seem like she was waiting on an inheritance. And she was like, no, of course not. And I was just saying, like, I'm the same. I'm very grateful for everything I have received so far, and I really don't expect or need. I just want her to be healthy and happy. So she decided on this amount that she was kind of growing. She's like, okay, maybe I don't need to work so hard just to leave behind a big lump sum. I'll just help you right now, and that feels like it's ticked the box, and then I can relax and I don't have to work so hard. And her version was helping me with my HEX to a certain degree, and I really, really appreciated it. What a privilege in itself. But after that, she did let go of the pressure to work so hard. At that time, I don't know why, she was working like 3 jobs and she didn't need to.
Whoa, yeah.
She did not need to do that. So I think she's made some progress with that scarcity mindset to try and relax a bit more. And probably, to be honest, because she has siblings that have retired as well, and people she met through her jobs who then retired, and she saw some examples of people living it up, like traveling. And she was like, oh, it looks like they're having a really great time. Why can't I do that? Maybe I should aim to do that.
Yeah. Oh, so nice, your mum.
I'm learning a lot. I'm getting inspired.
Yeah.
Recognizing all the privilege and luck in this story as well.
Yeah. And that's I think it's also a capitalist mindset as well, to hoard money, to pass it on for generational wealth. This is a similar mindset to why I want to be more generous with my money, is because being generous is sharing wealth. I will donate, do mutual aid, give money to friends who I know like maybe just need some help. I'll spend money, particularly on small businesses, because I want to share wealth rather than just like hoard it for myself. And so I can have a luxurious holiday, which I still can have, even when I am more generous and liberal with my money. I can still have a nice holiday. Why am I hoarding wealth when people could actually use this money to survive? You know, there's a lot of people who don't even have the money to survive because of the system that we have in place. And why am I hoarding it? So I can have a little bit more luxury in my life when all my basics are covered.
That's such a great example of, I would say, a anti-capitalist view of wealth. And it's just, we've been exposed to so much of that. I feel like we grew up / started working during that hustle mindset culture. And it was like, you know, work hard and cash out. And fire, you know, like retire early and all that stuff, which I think there is a bit of a growing anti-movement against that now. So it's like very ingrained, all these beliefs. That money will give you freedom, which of course it does to an extent. We've established I don't have an economics background. I'm not very good at explaining these concepts, but I'll still try to talk about another version related to that, is this idea around the system that we live in. People who have lots of wealth, you know, they've got lots of assets, they own multiple properties, or they have family trust funds where if they sit there and do nothing, they don't work, their assets will just generate income. And I think actually after COVID, it was found like all the billionaires are getting richer because of that kind of idea. And there are some movements to tax the wealth rather than focusing so much on income tax for people who work hard to try and earn more. It's like, actually, these people that own everything, who are just sitting on piles of wealth, that's what we should be thinking about taxing, rather than allowing them to accumulate and own everything and have control, including control of the media and lobbying to influence government policies to let them keep all of their wealth. And we don't even need to look so far. Like, literally, that's what's happening in the US right now.
And Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you explained that really well.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Do you want your economics degree?
Yes, certified. I got this from Gary's Economics on YouTube. That is where I learned lots of these things as well.
I'm giving you your certification from the Spilling the Jasmine Tea.
The highest honour.
Training Centre. Podcast Centre.
I'll take it.
But yes, absolutely, exactly. That is the conversation that's being had right now, which is amazing. Something to have on the side of that is a lot of working class people, there's this idea that the wealthy have created that you could become like us one day too. And so if you implement all the systems that we implement, this passive income, owning multiple properties and renting them out, investment properties and all of that stuff, you could have the wealth that we have as well. But when you do that, you're stepping on other people. You're prioritizing profit over people. And this is why we have the rental crisis that we have right now, because people are just buying up multiple properties and then charging rental at a crazy rate when income has not increased. And income is from, one, the governments, but also from those people who own multiple properties. Right? So the wealth is just pooling into like a very small group of people, and they're like, oh, you could be part of this small group of people. And this is where the problem is, because us working class that really need to pull together and not do that and fight against that. But it's very hard because there's a lot of that indoctrination, that propaganda.
100%. that American dream, Australian dream, like it's really been sold very hard of, look, if you work hard like this, you can have all these things, but we know that that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So my mum works in retail, and how much to expose? Okay. There were some senior managers who, upon opening a new store, hired their children. So they're like 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids from another city. So they flew these kids down, paid for flights, accommodation to help with the opening of a store, and they were treated extra well. My mum said, like, treated much better than the existing staff. Everyone was nice to them because they were the like senior managers' kids. But I was just thinking about all that, like, wow. So, but by the time they graduate or even they're looking for jobs, they've got things on their CV. They didn't apply for that job. It was very much given to them. And it's the same thing in terms of that money place. Let's just say you start with $100 in the bank. It's different to starting with zero. Actually, a lot of people's starting point. It's like starting from scratch rather than from a very high platform where you can take risks. If you lose 50, it's fine. You still have something. What has been the thing that has helped you work through your money mindset and your finances the most?
Just working on it.
Just addressing, not avoiding.
Yeah. Honestly, like there's not one thing that has been like the game changer. I've done so many things over the years since learning about finances is a thing. But yeah, just starting and just continuing to do things, a work in progress. There's like a whole journey ahead of me. But everything, every little thing from reading, I think the first thing I did was read Barefoot Investor.
Oh, yeah, that was my first book too. I didn't love it, but I did read it.
I read the first important bit and then the rest I just, But yeah, that helped me with like understanding budgeting. But then I've listened to podcasts. I've listened to affirmations. I've done courses. I've worked with business mentors. I've done many, many different things, and they've all helped me progress in some way. I don't have one super like standout answer, but it's just work on it.
I think it's true that money mindset, finance is so emotional. It's not like this cold logical thing or purely rational thing. So actually having all these other ways to work on it, like affirmations, hearing other people's stories, being open, talking to friends or maybe family, I think it would all contribute, and that my journey too. Talking
is a good one. That's a really good point because we're so like afraid to talk about finances. I've like brought up finances with people and they're like get really awkward about it, and I'm like, I don't know, like to me it's just like, why aren't we talking about this? Like don't we want to share information so that we're all better off? What would you say is the thing that helped you the most?
It probably is similar to do with the openness, and maybe it is sitting with the discomfort. Like that avoidance was just so strong and it took over every time. There was one entire year of feeling so much discomfort and feeling really defensive as well. Even if I'm just listening to a podcast or something, like, you don't know me. Who are you? That's how I got reading The Barefoot Investor.
Wow.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
That's so interesting.
I had to engage a lot in order to work through or wait for all of that defensiveness to sizzle down because it was just there for so long. But now I do notice it's not as strong as it was back then. Having that openness, persistence, like keep going.
That's so interesting because I feel like I'm not that emotional with money. Like when I'm learning about money, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to work on this. So I wonder what that difference is.
I can think of a very specific situation for me. I mean, I won't open the can of worms. It can be another day. But when my parents divorced when I was an adult, I was in my 20s. So I was very involved. The process of separating assets is where it gets really ugly, you know, and you have to look at all the numbers and everything like that. I think it warped a lot of my attitudes about money, and it had like fear and avoidance. It really amplified all of those things of like, oh my God, how scary is money? Like that's kind of how I walked away from it. And I think made it really emotional.
Oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, so working through it, I didn't even realize I was so defensive and emotional.
Wow, thanks for sharing that context. That just Yeah, it makes so much sense.
So yeah, there's all this other lore and backstory, but let's keep it concise for today. Yeah.
And I think that just shows like how each person has so many different experiences that shape the way that we view and handle and use money today. And it's such an important conversation to be had.
Well, thank you for being open to and sharing your journey. I feel like I learn a lot also just talking to you and being open that we don't need to be scared. We can tackle it together.
Yay! We hope that you have more conversations about money with your friends as well. Be brave and be the one to initiate it. Because this is what we really need as the Asian Australian community to grow and to improve the wealth and the finances of ourselves, but also our community.
Yes, and actually fight against these messages, very strongly capitalist messages that we've grown up with. We hope you enjoyed this high quality, premium, expensive tea. For me, just thinking about money has been an enormous project in itself. If you're finding that thoughts or conversations about money aren't flowing as smoothly as you hoped it would, we hope that this episode is a starting point for you. And if you do need more resources, there's always the links in the show notes, as well as Amanda and mine services if that is relevant to what you're looking for. And perhaps you want to share this episode with a partner, friend, or parent to softly open up this conversation and get on the same financial page as them. And if you like this episode, stick around for next time where we keep going into the journeys of our careers, business, employment, self-employment, all that jazz. See you there for more tea.